I think it's showtime, everybody. It wouldn't be fun if I wasn't at least like 35 or 40 seconds late. I'm not sure it would matter if I was 35 or 40 seconds early. How's everyone doing today? It's Friday here, and it's Kalispell Dynasty time here in practice. We're practicing today. It's our last episode before the season gets underway. That is exciting. We got some new upbeat music playing here. I hope you like it. If you don't, maybe I'll change it. Maybe I won't. We'll find out. What's good, everybody? Got the comments rolling in here. Hello, Seth. Hello, Jay. Hello, Gabe. And thank you for all the early super chats here, A-Alt. He's left so many of these before, a variety of live streams. Incredibly generous of you. Thank you for all the support here. Much, much appreciated. When are you going to stop being late? Here's the thing. I think that you guys get more enjoyment out of the stream. I'm just here to serve you. So I don't think you'd have as much fun if I was on time all the time. You look tired, Kane. I was born this way. I'm getting way better sleep now, though. I'm getting way better sleep, I'm telling you. See, I had to get multiple drinks today because I'm not sure this one thing of water is going to be enough. Might be a tough day. How will my Packers fare this week? You guys got not the Rams, the Patriots. Look, they took the Rams to the wire. They could take the Patriots to the wire. Aaron Rodgers is that good. I think Patriots win. It's very hard to win in New England, no matter who you are. But I think the Packers will do just fine. I think they'll play well, especially after last week and being disappointed. Maybe the trading of a couple players will be a wake-up call for everybody else around Rodgers and Adams and the great linemen they have. Maybe it'll help them out. Jair Alexander played really well over the weekend. I feel that they could definitely slow down New England's passing game. They have the cover talent to do it, and they can also stop the run. So the Packers could fare better than you might think. And I think there are a variety of teams who would be less likely to pull off an upset this week. The Packers aren't in a bad spot. As much as I hate to say it, I love to come out here and say the Packers are trash. The Packers have no shot. But I've learned my lesson. I know better. It's never that easy. Not until they don't have a Hall of Fame quarterback. And I've never lived in a world where they haven't had a Hall of Fame quarterback on the roster. So, that's the way it is. Who covers James White? That's the thing. I don't know really if the Packers have a plan for that. They're going to have to throw out some athletic defensive back type if they're going to pull that off. I don't know what the plan is. James White's one of those guys. Alvin Kamara's one of those guys where you don't really have a starter who's like ready to defend against that player. Linebackers aren't quick enough. Safeties are covering tight ends. Corners are covering receivers. Oh, man. I think I see Blackjack in the chat. How's it going? Oh, the Oakland Raiders. Oh, man. I noticed how someone put Oakland without the D. Oh, I thought it fit better. Oakland. There's no D with the Raiders after getting shredded by Nick Mullins and Raheem Mostert and George Kittle and Victor Bolden Jr. Who caught that first touchdown? It was number 84. I forgot his name. I didn't know him that well. I'm gonna switch up the song here. I've been meaning to show sliders to some of you that wanted to see them, and I'm still probably gonna make some changes here. But Heisman difficulty. I do think this year we should move to 9-minute quarters. I find myself sometimes wanting to run no huddle because I know the games are so short. They're just not quite as long as I'd like them to be. So I think 9-minute quarters makes a lot of sense moving forward. And then for the sliders, this is what I use. The big thing is just to make sure quarterback accuracy is lower. If you go to 5, it becomes out of control in the accuracy. You get like missing by 35 yards and no one likes that. The next thing I plan to do is probably lowering run blocking by 5 for the user. I gotta test a couple things out, but probably drop 5 on run blocking, maybe drop 5 on running back ability, and then for the CPU, I want to raise the run blocking ability, or the running back ability, probably by 5 to 10. I'm not sure how sensitive that slider is, but I want the running backs that we face to actually showcase their skill set a little bit better. We tend to see good vision, good trucking, and power, but I don't think we really see running backs show off their elusiveness enough from the CPU. Thank you for the super chat. We got one from the Unrepentant Vet. What have I missed? Just got here, sorry. You missed about 7 minutes of me sitting on the same screen talking, so I can't say you've missed a ton so far. Thank you for the super chat. Welcome to the stream, as we are set for some roster battling practice action today. And we'll talk about the various spots on the team that need to get figured out here today. Nah, my voice definitely didn't crack before. There's no way. I can tell when it did. Kendrick Bourne, that's who it is. Garcon had a touchdown too. Is Knightley finally 47? Vic Bolden got cut? I swear I saw him play last night. They wouldn't cut him the day after. Where was Marquise Goodwin? I don't know. I mean, he's been a big part of their passing game now for over a year. But for Knightley, for number 47, someone still has that number and I haven't found out who it is because I haven't looked very hard. Are you growing a beard? I'm not trying to. Inadvertently, I might be. I need a haircut though. I need that. I need to shave, obviously. I should probably take care of that. Who wears number 47? Someone's had it for a while, and they're just somewhere on the depth chart that I have not found. Someone wanted to see Colt Sully. That can definitely happen today. I think he fits best as a returner with his ratings. I have not yet added Colbert to A&M. That will be like the next thing that I do after getting the prospects all made, which, by the way, Blackjack has a great group of prospects ready for this year. There are a few I'm already looking forward to recruiting. I believe there are 13 players in this class, and it's gonna be fun. There are a few of those players I'm really excited to see highlights for, and to begin hopefully getting to Kalispell. We'll see. Mullins is so good. Hope he gets a chance. I really hope he maybe starts the rest of the year or something. I mean, anytime a quarterback plays well, and we've never seen them play poorly, you want to see more. So, I don't know if Mullins had great preseason action or not. I wasn't familiar with him before yesterday, but I came away pretty impressed, all things considered. He did throw an interceptable ball to, what was that, who was that, Daryl Worley in the end zone, but got away with it, and that was the one big mistake, but he looked poised. He looked like he was able to come off his first read. He didn't look like a lot of young quarterbacks. So he was able to at least separate himself in that regard. 14 in the class. Okay. 14 in this recruiting class. Blackjack has come prepared this season. What Blackjack does is he makes a template for all the prospects, and I'm sure he creates all of them on his own because he does a lot of testing out with attributes, I know, and then he grabs highlights, and then he gives me all the information, and I make it in mine. So it's a bit of a process, but I think we'd all say that it's worth it. You know, the stories and the careers of Roscoe Sheridan, Ja'Cory Day, and many others are because Blackjack has been a big part of this series. And that's why I want many of you to check out his Twitch, twitch.tv/theblackjackxxi. especially if you're into more than just sports content. He does a lot with visual novels and just some different stuff. So it will take, you might have to watch some stuff you're not used to, but he's an entertainer, and it's I have a good time over there. And one of these days I will be destroying him, like utterly destroying him at some Mario Party mini games. That's gonna be must-watch content. Who's gonna win, Saints or Rams? Ooh, in the Dome? And hard to pick against the Saints there. The Saints are really good, but then you got the Rams. So I'll get to more of your questions and stuff once we get into practice and the long loading screen into there. But here's what is on the agenda today. We need to figure out who is wide receiver 3. I'm leaning towards Antoine Knightley, playing alongside Carl Joyce on the outside and putting Justin Payne inside. He's our best route runner. And then Tyrone Houston can come off the bench in other situations. For tight ends, if you watched the previous episode, you know that I have redshirted Thomas Roberts because I don't want to waste his talent catching just 20 balls this year as a backup. So Reggie Jackson is back to being the number 2 tight end. A lot of you were like, what about Mario Townsend? And yes, Townsend deserves to play. He needs to get more snaps. He had 4 sacks a year ago, 4 the year prior. I think he's best along the defensive line, and so he's going to play in those same roles like he did a season ago. I'm not sure about playing him off the ball. We'll maybe try that out a little bit today. But I do want to make sure James Huggins gets some playing time defensively because I'd hate to watch his talent leave. He has the chance to be one of the best linebackers I think that's come to Kalispell, and you risk redshirting players who are really talented transferring after one season. And we've seen that on this channel. We saw it with Aaron Higdon hardly playing and leaving the Minnesota series. We saw it with our first 5-star recruit, Freddie Kimbrough, heading out to Texas State. I'm not trying to have a repeat. And then I also want to see who's going to start at safety, Tommy Jordan or Chris Baker, hoping we can figure out those things today. And if I didn't already mention it, running back 2, still a toss-up. When Kyle Thomas comes off the bench, who comes in to spell him? And with that, I think we're ready to go. Showtime. How about that D Rose 50-point game the other night? I really wish I'd watched the Wolves. I was thinking like, hey, maybe I should put the Wolves on another screen. And I just never did. And then D Rose put up 50, and I'm like, wow, I made a mistake. I'll probably watch a little bit of their game tonight against the Warriors, right up until the Warriors score 100 points at halftime. But, yeah, they earned a view from me for at least one night, that's for sure. Randy, thank you for the super chat. Sup, Kane, love the series. When Super Mega Baseball 2 coming back? I plan to work on that tonight. Guaranteed working on it tonight. So, if I can get it up tomorrow, that'd be great. If not, definitely early next week for sure. Definitely want to get back to Super Mega Baseball 2. I really enjoy that game and that series. LSU or Bama this weekend? I'm not picking against Bama. No. This is like the best Bama team we've ever seen. One of the best Bama teams we've ever seen. And Tua is just, he takes it to a new level. His stat lines every week are ridiculous. He completes like less than 15 passes a week, still throws for 3 to 5 touchdowns, doesn't throw picks. That team's playing on freshman difficulty. I don't even like this that much, to be honest. It's flavored water, sparkling water, a little more exciting than regular water. But I keep coming back. Bama hasn't played anybody. I'm not sure anybody is an anybody compared to Alabama, but hopefully we get some really good games with them down the stretch. Oh boy, did I pick the wrong playbook here, or is this all correct? The cat's there. No, this looks good. I keep thinking things are off, but they're totally right. Your webcam isn't quite in sync. I can't fix it during the stream. Voice sync off. I think it must have just happened. What I can do, though, is turn it off and then turn it back on and hope that whatever was wrong gets corrected. So hopefully that fixes it. I know that it's fixed it in the past. Want to move the ball back here. That works. Quan, thank you for the super chat. Big fan, keep up the good work. Where can I find your NCAA sliders? If you're able to scrub back a few minutes, I showed them a little bit ago. Otherwise, I can refresh your memory after the gameplay portion of the stream, but they have already been shared in the stream today. Fixed. I am the handyman. I really am. I had to fix a door handle the other day. Pulled it right out of the door. Just way too strong. What else have I fixed? I fixed a lot of things. I fixed the Cleveland Browns. Mutant Football League just added a dynasty mode. You have my attention. How good is that game, by the way? I don't care if it's super realistic. I care if it's fun. I care if it's competitive. The most important thing isn't that we get the most realistic gameplay, although it's what I want. The most important thing, honestly, is that whether it's arcadey, whether it's semi-realistic or whatever, it needs to be challenging. You're gonna get bored if it's not challenging in sports games. It's not, you know, playing Assassin's Creed where if you die, no matter what, you're gonna be frustrated. Sports games are different. There needs to be, you need to be vulnerable in games like this. So, I have questions about it. Thoughts on Nathan Peterman? Man, the interception rate is something I'm not sure any of us have ever seen before. I do kind of feel bad for him because I don't think that he was ready, and I think the coaches put him in a no-win situation. But, I mean, he threw the passes, no one else threw it, so yeah, it sucks that he threw so many picks, but that's that. I'm always down for some redemption, though, so if he gets another chance, I'm not, like, cheering for a pick again. Well, maybe I am, because, you know, we've already had so many. Maybe we can just keep it rolling. Like, when Matt Schaub was throwing pick sixes every day, yeah, I wanted to see the streak continue. He did a really good job throwing to the other team. But, I don't know. I just don't think that he is a great quarterback is all. Although in the preseason against the Vikings as a rookie, he wasn't terrible. Got a super chat here from Harold. Hey Kane, speaking of college football, who wins Big Ten East, Michigan or Ohio State? I think I would like to see Michigan win it, but Ohio State's so dynamic. Can Michigan keep up with them if they got Haskins rolling and the offense playing well? And they always got good DBs coming through. I can't wait for some of these high-profile Big Ten games and the really intense conference action. Like, this is my favorite time for college football, other than bowl games and conference championships, because it feels like we get so many cupcake matchups for a while. We got a couple upsets every week, but now it's like, now we're gonna see who wins division championships and everything. So this is like prime time. What do you think about Jameis Winston? Way too turnover prone to trust, that's for sure. I think if you're Tampa Bay, you are really close to starting over if you're not already there. Nice job, Antoine Knightley. I mean, he has like a career rate of like 1.7 or something turnovers per game. he shows glimpses of greatness, but I feel like even more so now, they're being overshadowed by all the negatives that hold his play back. When he came into the NFL, we knew what the negatives were with his play. And when you have a quarterback who makes mistakes, they need to possess the ability to make up for it. Brett Favre made mistakes all through his career, but he was good in the fourth quarter, and he was able to dig out of holes. And I'm not sure Winston's that quarterback. I'm not sure if he's that quarterback enough weeks out of a 16-game schedule, anyway. And if you're in the NFC South, be prepared to score points. The Panthers can put up points if they need to. They usually play at a slower pace, and they have a good defense, so they don't always have to score 35 points. But you know, the Falcons and Saints, they can any week. So the Bucs also have to think about that. And they're a team who, on paper, you know, should be built to score a lot. Got a super chat here from Sports Fan. How about Nick Mullins? Can't wait till he torches my Giants next week. Do we know if Nick is starting now moving forward over CJ Beathard, or what's going to happen? Because I want an encore performance. Sorry, losing my voice a little bit here. We're going to power through it. We're going to drink some water. The unrepentant vet we just named Fitzpatrick the starter going forward. Thank you for the super chat. Yep, I saw that, which that's still somewhat a temporary situation, because with Fitz, you know that there's going to be a 3-pick game upcoming where your team has like no shot at winning. So it's hard to escape it. It happened in Chicago. It's not their last time it's probably going to happen, but yeah, it's the right move to play Fitzpatrick. Especially if you're still trying to play to win, which I think if you're Tampa, you're probably not going to go to the playoffs, but you might as well fight. They've played some close games. They almost won a week ago. Nearly pulled it off. But also, just to develop the offense and to hopefully get things to reach their potential on that side of the football, yeah, I like playing Fitz. Any big college football games tonight? I know occasionally we have the intriguing Friday matchup. I know the Gophers won on Friday a week ago. I forgot they were playing on Friday, so I didn't catch any of it. I was probably watching the World Series or something anyway, which the playoffs this year for MLB, not as good as last year, because last year was almost impossible to top. Whoa. But, you know, good playoffs all around, just not as exciting, not as intriguing of a story going into the World Series. I started Nick Mullins in fantasy as a joke and got 22 points. That's the way to go right there, Nick Mullins. He did look pretty good. It wasn't just the defense. I mean, you still had to react to pressure and come off reads that weren't open and make some good throws. So, good first act for the young quarterback. Look at Bozeman down there. I think it's time to mix things up a little bit. Yeah, I'm sure the Raiders will be good again, and we gotta remember, you know, we've all piled on. I've certainly been a part of it. Of, like, you know, the John Gruden experiment. So far, it's off to an atrocious start. There's no denying that. But they will have a chance to build. They will have over $60 million in cap space. They will have 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years, but you gotta make them count. There was so much talk yesterday about how, well, the Cowboys with the Herschel Walker trade, look what they were able to do. And that's a little bit of dangerous territory to get into, because, first of all, if you look back at any team's last 3 first-round picks, how many of those teams drafted a bust? Most of them, probably. And consider the Cowboys not only avoided drafting busts, they took Hall of Fame talents. What the Cowboys did was extremely low percentage. And the Raiders aren't guaranteed to get Hall of Fame talent or anything. And if we're being honest here about the math, 3 out of those 5 players probably have a chance at a good career. If we're just playing the odds. 5 out of 5, uncharted territory, really. So 3 out of 5 is more realistic. Can 3 players be enough of a difference? I don't know. And then the cap space. They got to make the right decisions. Is Derek Carr the right quarterback? If Carr isn't the right quarterback and they spend those picks elsewhere, that's a big issue. Right now, it looks like they're going to have a good chance to end up with someone like Nick Bosa. And yeah, they need him. But that defense needs more than a Bosa brother to turn around. One thing John Gruden was right about is they were bad with Khalil Mack. They were bad with him. They've been worse without him. So it's not really logical to say Nick Bosa is going to make a big enough difference. They need more. They really need secondary help. Yeah, the first round has a lot of busts. There are a lot of players that don't pan out for one reason or another. And at least for the Raiders, like, a lot of those picks are going to be pretty valuable. But then with the Cowboys, you know, that might be, 15 to 20. Like maybe a 14 to 20 overall pick for Amari Cooper. The Bears, that one's probably going to be in the teens. And once you start getting into the teens, you're going to have maybe some athletes who aren't that refined at their positions, and you're going to have some major bust potential. But, I think Reggie McKenzie has made a lot of good picks in his time there, and if he's calling the shots, which doesn't really seem like it is, it feels like it's Gruden's show now. We'll have to see what kind of athletes they go after. I know they received a lot of flack for going after Colton Miller, but they also took some players that I think a lot of people liked. PJ Hall, Maurice Hurst. I also wonder if they're honestly going to try dealing Carl Joseph in the offseason. But yeah, it's a good year to need a defensive lineman, it appears. There's Ed Oliver, and there's also, what's his first name? I think his last name is Williams. Quinnen? Is it Quinnen Williams? Who's been having a really good season. Everybody's all over him. They could use someone like Greedy Williams, of course. They need some coverage. They haven't had that great lockdown corner since Nnamdi. And they couldn't put a defense around him either. The Raiders just keep getting like one star player on defense, and they just can't put enough average players around him to make it matter enough. All the Clemson D-line, man. Clemson's got some really good talent. They're fun. I'm more interested if they have more receivers coming through, though, after Nuke and Martavis Bryant and everybody else they've had. A lot of success there at the position. So what do we think about Marcus Payne right now? Give me one sentence on Marcus Payne on why he should or should not be running back 2. The one thing about Payne that is undeniable is he does have great speed when he gets the chance to display it. Against our defense, he's not going to look as fast because we have a lot of speed. The main thing, I'm just disappointed we're not getting more power out of him, but it doesn't mean he won't be reliable. But we've seen fumbles, we've seen mistakes that are really going to hurt the team. I also don't think he has the agility of some of the other backs for change of direction. Well, I think Alabama, they're obviously a team that has a lot of pro talent, but it is college football, and there are some players that tend to do better in the college ranks than in the NFL. Alabama tends to have a lot of size and strength on their team, and sometimes it's at the sacrifice of athleticism, something that's a lot more important at the NFL level. And then you keep in mind that, you know, they're just so overall talented that not everybody needs to be perfect because they're just a complete team. But also, I mean, just because they go to Alabama and they're a good player there and a good prospect, like anybody can be a bust. You can be a great athlete and everything and still be a bust. You can be unlucky with injuries. Oh, man. Oh, man. Brandon Warren has an arm. All right, got some talk here on Marcus Payne. Derrick Henry, but he can't truck anyone. Yeah, we're not seeing the power. We will try Austin Jenkins. Just got back from basketball. Love your videos. Thank you. Hey, Kane, I think you missed one of my super chats. I'm sorry, Harold. I know I've read at least one of them. Oh, this one. No one will be able to beat Goff, not even a stiff breeze. Man, the Rams aren't going to go 16-0, which, you know, teams don't go 16-0. I think that this could be the one that they fall. They almost fell to the Packers. Now they're on the road a week after, you know, pulling off that game against Green Bay, which obviously, if Ty Montgomery doesn't fumble, who knows what Rodgers does, but I've seen it many times already in that situation. We saw it, 2 weeks ago against San Francisco. Not that San Francisco is, you know, the class of defensive play in the NFL, but I think that it's hard to beat Rodgers when he absolutely needs points. The fact that Rodgers and Brady have only matched up once before, though, I think they should have matched up another time and Rodgers was hurt. But I think that it's time to change maybe the schedule formula, because the way it works is teams play 12 games against their own conference. They play 6 in division and then another 6. I think a lot of it's based on teams that also finished with their same standing in their division and whatnot. But then they only play 4 out-of-conference games a year, and it's all teams from the same division, and everyone else in the division plays those teams. So, for instance, this year, the NFC North plays the NFC, or the AFC East, all the teams there. I feel we should get 6 out-of-conference games each year. I think the division approach is good, but then I would also find 2 more AFC teams to throw in there. I don't think it needs to be 75% against your own conference. I think that every team should play a team from the opposing conference, even if it's 5. That's okay. I think that if you take out one of the conference games and replace them with you going against another team from the opposite conference that finished in the same division placing as you, that way you'd get an additional first place NFC versus first place AFC game for each team. Or for, that'd be 4 additional matchups per season. Chance at Packers and Patriots if they finished in first place. Or like a Rams and Patriots game next year if they both finish in first place. That sounds cool to me. Whereas right now we know that the Packers are going to play the Patriots once every 4 years. Which means that they only play in like Foxborough once every 8 years. Because you switch the home road. I believe you switch the home road anyway. Maybe that's not 100%, but that sounds right to me. Been watching since Blitz the League. Love your work. Thank you, Braden. Grant, thoughts on the Chiefs? Hot start and how they might finish. They're such a well-coached team, and I love that offense. I think that they're going to finish with a 3-loss record. 3 or 4 losses. And they'll be the number 2 seed in the AFC. I think there's a good chance that in the divisional round we could get like a Steelers-Chiefs game. And I'd have a lot of interest in watching those two offenses against each other in the postseason. All right, Marcus Payne, still trying to get him some touches here. What is his acceleration? Because it really seems like it takes a little while for him to get going. Zach, thank you for the super chat. Do you think you will ever bring back online head-to-head against subs? Maybe. I really liked when they had the community feature in the game. But I'm guessing they don't want as many people playing there. They want them in Ultimate Team. So I doubt we'll ever get it back. But the community matches streams were really fun. 89 acceleration, 82 agility, 79 strength. I feel like we're not seeing much strength though, or break tackle or truck out of him. I want to get Mario Townsend in the game too. There were a lot of comments about me taking playing time away from him. A lot of people want to see Townsend start over Huggins. I do think Mario is best though playing defensive end. And he absolutely will again. Let me switch up our plays here. Oh man. A super chat here from Swavey, I think. I'm not sure how you want me to pronounce this name, but gave it my best shot. Kane, been here since Madden 12 with Lorenzo Booker. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, there are so many names that I have forgotten over the years. Lorenzo Booker, an old third down running back of the Vikings. I think he also played with like I don't know, like the Dolphins or something. Is it getting how's the lighting in here, by the way? Not too bad. I'm not gonna complain about it. But I was going through some recap videos today because I'm doing the All-Pro Football thing, which, by the way, I want to do the All-Pro Football stream tomorrow. I have like 14 of the 20 players created, and the other 6, I have all their information written down. I can get them into the game. So, I'm going to be streaming that tomorrow. We're going to have the MrHurriicane All-Star Game, which is a long time coming, honestly. It features 20 players, well known from various series that I have done. The series represented the most is the Minnesota Gopher Dynasty, which was my longest series I've ever done, and it had a number of key players. But I tried to get somebody from a lot of different series. And here's Tyrone Houston. He can fly. There's an example. How tall is Payne? From Zach Lee, a super chat. I found height matters in this game. Want to say 6'2"? Could be wrong, so I'm verifying. Marcus Payne is 6'1", 231. New music, please. You got it. I go in the library like once a week and try to find some new tracks. I don't always come away successful, but I try to get some variety. Which season in my Minnesota Dynasty Matt Pierre took off? What year was he done? Was it like year 8? Year 9? I don't know. Matt Pierre, by the way, will be in the game, the All-Star game tomorrow. Sports Fan 98, remember the game with the walk-off safety in Season 2? That game, that's a game actually I'll never forget, so yes, I remember it. When I've talked about doing like Kane's classics in the past, going back to revisit some of the best moments and just events from the various series, like that's what I wanted to be episode 1, because that was like the beginning of season 2 in the series, and that's the episode that made me realize that I really had something going here on YouTube, because I just got into franchise content, and that was like one of the most exciting games that we had. We won it on a walk-off safety against the Giants, and I remember seeing like the comment section when that video was posted to see how many of you were excited. I'm not sure how many of you watched that episode, but to see so many people excited about what happened and to be like invested into the series, that's when I knew like we had something. And it was also kind of the start of an amazing series, or an amazing season in the series. So that was a really, really big episode, looking back. Is Ja'Cory Day in the game? Ja'Cory Day is in the All-Star game. He is on the team I will be using. I made 2 teams. I'm using one that does have Ja'Cory Day. Probably not going to spoil every game tonight. Oh man, I think Springs is going to be pretty good. Oh my, I can't believe that worked. That would have been a pick if the game counted, I tell you that. Oscar Bryant, the new #1 corner, lining up alongside of Antoine Knightley, who needs to work on his lateral game. Wait, All-Star game? What All-Star game? Apparently some of you, I forget, you know, I was in the stream last week, but not everybody else is. Tomorrow, live here on the channel, there is going to be a MrHurriicane All-Star game played on All-Pro Football 2K8. I thought it was just one of the better games to actually do this, to make a team, to make a couple teams, and to make some key players. And I've done what I could. I can't make like 53-man rosters. The most I can do is create 10 per side. So I have made 5 offensive players and 5 defensive players on 2 teams. They will go head-to-head tomorrow. I'm playing as one. We'll play against, obviously, another team that I made. And everyone in the series is someone I either drafted or recruited in a big series. What time, Kane? Probably like an early-ish afternoon, like a 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock type of deal, Central Time. So like a normal off-season slot. Okay, we are not in mid-season form when it comes to these laterals. Thank you again for the super chat, Quan. Down goes Warren. We got Mario Townsend, by the way, playing here at left end, number 52. So keep an eye on him if you are looking to see what he's able to do. He has 4 sacks in each of his 2 years getting playing time. It kind of seems like there's a lot of interest for this All-Star game. It's going to be fun. Will Anton be in there? The 2 quarterbacks are Anton Greenberry on the team I'll be facing. He is the one player that's from my second channel, because the Browns series I thought deserved at least one player and I thought about doing more, but I only had 20 to pick from. But Anton Greenberry is the quarterback I'll be playing against. Yes. Now, there isn't a typical rating system in the game, so I didn't go to these players and say, this guy has 78 speed, this one has 85. What they have in there is kind of a trait system. So you pick what kind of traits you want that player to have, and you only have so many to choose from based on if they're a gold player, a silver player, or a bronze. So when I made Nate Bell, for instance, he is a gold player. I made it so he has like really good coverage, he's very good in press. And I'll go through the players before the game gets underway, and yes, it'll be on my channel after the stream. And if it goes well, I might find other games to do stuff like this in. Just throw it down there and good things usually happen, Warren. Look at that touchdown. It's not for Madden, no, it's only going to be all pro football. Because they have the custom team and it was pretty easy to put together. Plus, I just wanted to play that game again. It's been like 5 years or more. Yeah, Calvin Hall was someone I had considered. I don't think he made it onto the roster. There is another Minnesota Dynasty safety, though, for those of you that remember number 38, four-year starter, Andre Gaines. He is one of the safeties in the game. So each team has 10 custom players. I made sure it's 5 offense, 5 defense, and everybody has a quarterback, running back, and 2 pass catchers for sure. Andre Gaines is in. Out of your elite tight ends, who are you using? I only have one tight end in the game, and that is this guy right here, Hayden John Charles. He is actually on Anton Greenberry's team. Anton Greenberry gets Hayden John Charles, and he'll have Reggie Shepard as well to be his number 1 receiver. My number 1 receiver for Andy McKenzie is Lance Adams. Both Andy and Lance are silver, by the way. Each team was able to have 2 gold players, so I had to be really particular there. They can have 2 gold, 3 silver, 5 bronze. And unfortunately, the bronze players, they are not able to get a lot of traits. So you can only pick 1. So I'm hoping that we still get some gameplay that reminds you of what these players were like in other series, but I know it's not going to be perfect. Nice job, Daniel Foster. So the gold players on our team, my team rather, maybe you're cheering for the other team, they are Nate Bell, because he had to be gold. He's one of the top players to come across either of my channels. It's Nate Bell and Matt Pierre. Mostly because Pierre had a great college career and then a Hall of Fame career mode series over on my second channel, becoming one of the best running backs of all time. The gold players for the other team are Anton Greenberry, who became a Hall of Fame quarterback, broke the touchdown record, and did all sorts of great things. It's Anton Greenberry and Reggie Shepard. What is he talking about? I'm doing an all-star game tomorrow on the channel live on All Pro Football 2K8. It is a MrHurriicane all-star game featuring 10 players from 20 players rather from various series that I've done over the years, recreated so I can do an all-star game between a team that I'm playing as and another team. Who are the remaining players going to be, by the way, since I can only make 20? They are just generic. I can't really do anything about that. Is Leon Daniels on the team? I can confirm Leon Daniels did make it onto my team. He's a bronze. But the one upgrade I gave him was the one that I thought fit the best. Leon Daniels gets the leadership quality, meaning that he makes other players around him better. Leon Daniels in his pregame motivational speeches and the inspiration he has created, that will be a part of the fun of tomorrow's game. One second, I feel like it's getting a little too dark in here. I forgot to turn on the light because it felt like it was pretty light to me. One second. Much better. There are so many players that didn't make the cut, but if you want to see more players from various series, check out my Super Mega Baseball 2 series on my second channel. I know it's baseball, so it's very different, but I've taken a variety of football players and I put them in roles on the baseball diamond, and I think that even though it's not football, you'll enjoy it. If you like baseball, Super Mega Baseball 2 is awesome with the customization, and I have 8 custom teams. Every player is custom, and many of them are from past series, and many of them had small roles. We're talking about Chris McKnight, who played for the Badgers in my Gopher Dynasty. We're talking about who's obscure that made it into some of those, or maybe didn't play much at all. I mean, Barry Inseki, he played a lot. Wasn't like a great on the channel, but he's in there. There are a lot of players who didn't have the most prolific careers. We're just solid. Bo Lee is not in the All-Star game, no. He did not make the cut. Alright, I think we need to do some drills that really focus more on how we can decide these roster battles. So I want to go here at the 5-yard line, and I want to do running back 2 focus right now, everybody. I want to try punching this in for a touchdown. And we're going to call a variety of running plays. So Marcus Payne down here in the red zone. This should be his spot, right? What if I choose the same exact play and we like kind of get like 10 reps or so and we just see how many are successful? We'll do the same offensive play and the same defensive play. So Marcus Payne in. Not sure I'd really call that successful. He didn't push the pile at all. That time he does kind of fall forward. Maybe that's 1 for 2. There we go. There we go. Puts the head down, powers into the end zone. There's 2 of 3. Another one here. They win that one. Tommy Jordan. Another one for Payne. No. Close, but not quite. This is a good way to kind of gauge it, though, rather than calling all the random plays, I feel. Want to get specific. What if we run to the right side, though? might be a little bit tougher. Bozeman creeping down. Whatever happened to, I think you mean Freddie Kimbrough. He ended up transferring away to Texas State because I didn't play him. I think by now his career is over. I can take a look. Kane, I always wanted to ask you how you actually play the game. What do you let the CPU do? What do you do, especially running the ball like right now? I mean, I have the sliders take care of like balancing stuff, so I don't have to be like, you know, I need to do this or not do this. Like, I don't know. I just kind of play it the way I think that it should be played. I try to gear the sliders in a direction where, you know, playing this way is what's best. I can't just throw the ball deep every play on these games because my sliders are set up so that you'll pay the price with your quarterback if you try to do that. I try to make it so run defense is stout and it's not easy to just gash them for, you know, big gains all the time. I do what I can, and these games have some flaws, and sometimes I can't fix them the way I'd like to. But if you want realistic games, you do need to play a realistic style. You can't just, you know, call deep passes out of 4-wide shotgun every time and hope to get what you see on Sundays, you know? I also mix up my calls a lot. I call a variety of different plays and concepts, so there's a good variety in my stuff. There is no Taj body appearance in the All-Star game. I only made 2 quarterbacks. I had very little room, so I had to make the most of it. So what if we put in Brandon Tolbert down here? Is there a difference in his power down around the goal line? We'll also try Austin Jenkins. So one more rep of Payne. I think down here we're seeing him able to get a little bit after contact, but it wasn't like overpowering. Is Payne a junior at this point? I forget what year he is, actually. He might be a junior. There we go, Tolbert. See, when you run left on this one, you're pretty much one-on-one with the safety, unless the tight end can't hold his block or the tackle doesn't get to the second level cleanly. And you'd hope that Tolbert could kind of go through Tommy Jordan pretty easily. So far, in Tolbert versus Payne, I lean Payne, especially with his speed. Oh, fumbles are not going to help Tolbert's case here. That doesn't mean Tolbert might never run the football here. But I think you're going to see a lot of Kyle Thomas until someone separates themselves. Seems like Payne runs better out of single back than shotgun. He's a DeMarco Murray. I don't think that is a bad comp at all. For a while, I was kind of thinking Darren McFadden, but I didn't think that was good enough. But I like the DeMarco Murray comp. I think they have similar body style. They both have a bit of burst, but it takes some time to get there. They look big. They have some power, but they're not as powerful as you think. Kind of, you know, good zone scheme runners, you know. I didn't think Tolbert could beat out Payne, but I wanted him to show that he couldn't, at least. Belafonte is mostly just a returner, but that doesn't mean he won't play any offense. I know I haven't really used him in the practices, mostly because I know what he can do at this point. Oh wow, Kane, I was rewatching your Minnesota Dynasty offseason, and there was some discussion about what you would do with NCAA 15. Sad to look back and know there was never an NCAA 15. No, it didn't happen, but because of that, the Minnesota Dynasty became what it is, and same thing with Kalispell. So, at least here on this channel, we made the most of this game. I have played, I've done almost everything I could do in this game with Road to Glories and Dynasties. Never got into coaching carousel, and that seems to be at least something a lot of you have interest in. I'm not sure how many, but it's a suggestion that pops up, you know, every so often. And I never really thought about starting with a coach from one team and then bouncing around to get a head coaching job. But, I don't know, never say never, I guess. I guess all my ideas have been, like, we're going to do a series with one team and one team only. I don't really have strong thoughts on Trevor Lawrence. I haven't watched him play a ton. Don't really get a lot of Clemson games. So Jenkins not really showing much right now. Definitely not better than Marcus Payne. That was a good play though. Whoa, Bozeman. Don't forget about that hit power. If they revive this series with an NCAA 20, yeah, I would have interest in NCAA, a new college football game. I have interest in anyone who wants to make a football game. I know I don't get the questions as much now, but I know a lot of you have asked me about Gridiron Champions, and yeah, once there's something to play or whatever, I totally have interest. If anyone wants to make an arcadey-like football game, like if we got a super mega football, I would be stoked because I know how well they do with baseball, and if they did a football game, I'm sure I'd love it. Any plans on doing Road to Glory in the future? Yes. My plan with that, though, is to take players from franchises and to do like a one-season deal with them in college. Like a prequel series. And the first one I'll be doing is going to be Anton Greenberry from my Browns rebuild. He was the #1 overall draft pick in that series to start the rebuild of the team. And he was with us for the entirety of the series. Every year of his career. And then he retired and we ended the series. And I would like to play out his last year at Louisville. Who do you think will win the Heisman? I think that Haskins can do it for sure. He's put up the big numbers. I think Tua could win it if he played on a team with a worse defense that he had to throw more on. But Tua's not going to get 500-yard games with Alabama. Let's give Belafonte a few touches here. Like, running between the tackles isn't so much his game. But, I would like to get him on the field here. He's been very seldomly used here in the practices so far. Obviously, he's a speed back. Elusiveness is his game, and we know how to use his skills. This is not really the situation. So I'll try some different stuff after this. Maybe I'll try a stretch. Maybe a stretch from like the 10-yard line. Try to get that for a touchdown. Man, George Kittle is good. It's nice to see some of these tight ends really produce the way you'd like to see some of them too. I feel like we always have intriguing tight end prospects coming in, and Kittle wasn't the guy that a bunch of people were excited about, at least not that I saw. But he is solid, you know. I don't think he's far off from being one of the top 10 tight ends if he's not already in that discussion. That catch he had last night and the run after it, that was pretty special. I haven't really paid attention to what Louisville's having going on right now. Is Louisville not very good this season? Was it a down year in the post-Teddy Bridgewater era? Or rather, post-Lamar Jackson era, I guess. This is actually a good play to run with everybody else, too. And we are not having much success with it, sadly. Wesley Merrill is playing some end right now, and he's giving us a handful. Of course, he's playing against Hayden John Charles, and not a tackle. There we go, Belafonte. .5 years into his injury-riddled career. What are your thoughts on Dalvin Cook? Well, I mean, I don't want to call him injury-prone yet. ACL is kind of a freak thing, and then the hamstring. I mean, the hamstring injuries, those tend to last a while. So I think the ACL can happen to anybody. Hamstrings happen to a lot of guys, and a lot of times they don't fully heal until you get an off season. Teams try to play guys through these injuries, and then it aggravates, and they can't get fully healthy. They're talking about playing Cook this weekend after a couple weeks off. I don't know if he's ready, but the bye week is really soon, so I don't know if it's smart to play him right now. But when he's on the field, his elusiveness is on another level. And he does such a good job at forcing missed tackles. And if we can just get some healthy Dalvin Cook action with a good offensive line, really good things are going to happen for this running game. It's going to be fun. The UTSA dynasty ended so early because a new NCAA game came out and it was time to move on. Man, between Ak and G-Day and everybody else, I'm having a heck of a time trying to get some production here. Even Bryant's a big issue. Thoughts on Adam Thielen? Come on, as a Viking fan, you know I love watching Thielen out there. Just incredible hands, great route runner. He's always open, it seems like. Unfortunately, he's had a couple big fumbles in his career. There was a couple years ago against Dallas on Thursday Night Football as Payne fumbles, where the Vikings looked like they had the Cowboys right where they wanted them, and then Adam Thielen, he muffed a punt, and it gave the Cowboys a chance to win that game, which they did. And then just this past weekend, that fumble. I'm not really concerned that he's going to keep fumbling, but you know, sometimes receivers do fumble, and he's fumbled in some pretty bad spots. I love to know what happens in that game last weekend if Thielen doesn't fumble and they can go up like 20-10. One thing I found out about these Vikings is they can be small events can have a huge impact, and I think that we saw that in the 38-7 game against Philly, where they looked good until Case Keenum threw that pick six, and then everything fell apart. Last weekend, Thielen fumbles, it deflates the team, and they don't recover. They can't let these individual events, especially early in games, completely derail them. It's happened in other games too, like the Bills game when they had those fumbles on offense and couldn't recover. Thankfully, those mistakes don't happen every week, but when they do, they seem to stick in everybody's mind for a while. They gotta forget. As bad as one play can be, the worst thing that can happen is the other team gets a maximum of 8 points out of it. You gotta move on. Will Julio Jones get a touchdown reception this year? Julio Jones is going to finish the year with 2 touchdowns, okay? He's going to get 2. You heard it here first. But I am really enjoying the stretch of yards and catches he has since his last touchdown. And the thing is, like, that team is still producing. His lack of touchdowns isn't a problem. It's just a really strange statistical anomaly. Players don't catch that many yards and not score. If you look at the list of players who have no touchdowns this year and rank them by yards, Julio has second place beat by like 600. It's a joke. It's hilarious. So I think right now Marcus Payne is going to be running back number 2, but certainly we're going to get other players some reps. Chances are those 2 touchdowns will be in the same game. That's what I'm kind of counting on there, Sean. How many we got in the stream right now? We've peaked at 656. So thank all of you for joining the stream today. We are not done. We still have work to do. Just taking a moment here to catch up on comments and to see how many people are in here. I wish that on the dashboard it had like a live view count. Why does it not have that? But we're at 454. Not bad here on a Friday afternoon. Why are players so bright? Because the dirty jerseys, mainly. It looks like when light hits the clean uniforms, it kind of illuminates, and then on the dirty jerseys, they don't really reflect light. Maybe it was just something weird in their graphics engine this year. Kane, will Treadwell catch another touchdown in his career? Yes. He will have 14 touchdowns in his career. No, I hope he has a lot more than that. But Treadwell, he still has a long way to go. For the record, I wanted the Vikings to draft Treadwell, and that was drafting him over Will Fuller, drafting him over Josh Doxson, drafting him over Michael Thomas. So, I was wrong on that one. I don't think I saw the right footage of Michael Thomas in college. There's no way. Like, when I see someone that can run a good route, I am dazzled. There's no way I wouldn't have liked Michael Thomas if I had watched the right games, I think. I just don't know why I didn't see it the way I should have. I think I was more excited about Tyler Boyd. And I like Tyler Boyd, and now he's kind of proving why a lot of people liked him as like a solid day 2 pick. Why are you playing practice? It's fun, it's useful, and it's enjoyable. I'd like to get Belafonte a few more snaps in there, though, at tailback, and we're going to try something else. We're going to put Knightley on the outside. Someone wanted to see Colt Sully. Sully has 89 speed, 94 agility, 92 acceleration. However, his catching isn't too great. It's only a 70, but a 92 spec catch. His route running is only a 68. So his skill set's really strange. But we're going to see it in action here against with Antoine Knightley. Houston in the slot. I might even try payments out there here in the stream. I definitely didn't watch Michael Thomas in any season that wasn't his final one at Ohio State, and that might have been my big issue. That also could have been why I wasn't as high on Darius Geis as others. I did like Rashad Penny more than Geis, but everyone kept saying that Geis was better a year before, so I'm not sure I saw the best of Geis totally. I know I saw some of his stuff in his second to last season, but unfortunately, Penny is not balling out this year. It's the Chris Carson show, and I'm still pretty happy about that. Put Reggie Jackson out there. How about that? I can't? Because he's starting at fullback, I bet? Defensively, let's get some rotation out there. We have Townsend already in the game. Let's go with Anthony Hicks on one side. Let's put Marcus Jordan at defensive tackle. We got Huggins out there at right outside backer. I'm not sure if he's been playing in the nickel packages at all, but in case I want to try him on the other side and see if it actually plays him. And then at cornerback, we're going to take out Bryant and put in Justin Garcia. We'll put Baker back at safety, by the way. We're also going to change up the song. What time are you streaming the All-Star game? Let's call that one, let's go for 2:30 Central Time PM, okay? 2:30 Central Time. I will write it down in pen. Why do you think Ohio State can put so much quality talent out every year but lose games to teams like Purdue and not win titles? I think that the expectations in college football are really high, and anytime a team loses a game, it's like a big shock because it doesn't happen a ton. You know, when a team in the NFL is disappointing, they might go like 10-6 instead of better, or 9-7. In college, it's like they lost 2 games. I think that anyone is capable of an off day, and when it happens in the world of college football, it's more noticeable. But also, there have been some teams that have just had some good schemes for them. Like yesterday, I was reading about how, Virginia Tech or whatever, had that bear front that shut down Ezekiel Elliott and took away the JT Barrett read option game. I was reading an article on that yesterday, actually, so it's somewhat relevant. But, not only against Ohio State are you going to get some good Big Ten teams, but you're also getting like any out-of-conference team is like, okay, this is like our Super Bowl. So you're going to get them trying out some things like displaying a new defensive front. Like, I'm not sure if Tech was using a lot of bear front in other games, but a well-executed bear front can ruin a lot of these ground games. You got every offensive lineman accounted for. They played man coverage across the board and had the safety come down to play against the option. It was really smart. And that's the kind of thing you get when you're the top dog. You get everyone's best, and you're going to get the weeks where the Dolphins come out or run the Wildcat on you and win. So I think it just gets magnified, honestly. It's not really a cause for concern. How the heck are you, Kane? I'm doing well, Kawhi. Thank you for joining the stream. Doing really well. Having a fun time with everyone today. I'm always interested in a remastered NCAA or a new football game of any kind. It does not have to be hyper-realistic, but it has to be fun. And I would like it to be hyper realistic if anyone's listening. My entire life with video games, I've always like chased immersion, and for the longest time I thought everybody else did as well. That's not the case. Not everybody wants to play super realistic games. A lot of people prefer things that they can't do or see in real life, so they want to play things with a more of a fantasy element to them, and I like some of that as well, but what really draws me in is stuff that's immersive. And that can be a sports game, it can be something else. Anything that can really just like make you feel like you're part of another world and evoke strong emotions. So the really good story-based games do that for me, like an Uncharted or a Last of Us. One of my favorite games of all time is Persona 4, and that game is obviously like a fantasy JRPG, but the story is so good it had me hooked. But yeah, I tend to prefer realism and immersion when it comes to sports games. Always. Hey, Reggie, nice catch. Mr. October there? Nah, he hasn't earned that. Has not earned that. This team has Reggie Jackson and William Perry. We'll see if they can come anywhere close to living up to the legacies of the true Mr. October and Fridge. I hate to break it to you, Kane, but your Vikings could look a lot better. I've been enough of a realist this year to see some of this coming. And yeah, I think the Vikings, they look right now like a team that's going to lose in the wild card round if they make the playoffs. Hopefully that changes, but right now they don't look like a great team. They look like a decent team that might have a better highlight reel than most teams out there. Not the Rams or the Chiefs, but you know, the Vikings offense, think about how much fun you've had watching them this year, and remember, they are 16th in points scored. But Adam Thielen puts on like 5 highlight reel plays a game. The problem is they've had a lot of drives killed by penalties. They've had bad turnovers at bad times. And they end up putting together the most impressive 20-point outings you've ever seen. Look at Tyrone out there. That was awesome. Marty Belafonte in there. His actual catching rating isn't very good, but when have we seen Marty drop the football? I don't recall. If you feel like the Dolphins franchise can't be fixed, what is your plan? My plan is basically, we're just going to have fun here on the channel. If it doesn't work out with the Dolphins series coming back, which I hope it does, but, you know, we're going to have the Kalispell series, we're going to have the Twins franchise, and part of the reason why I've decided to do, like, the All-Star Game and All-Pro Football is because I'm trying to keep things fun over here. I know that the franchise, you know, being on hold right now is not what anybody expected, but I think it is best for the channel right now, and it's best to take a step back. And I just wanted to keep things fun. And I think that doing things like that and some of the other ideas I'm playing with will keep the channel, keep morale up, essentially. We're going to keep morale up here as much as possible. I almost want to quit out and get back in so we can get everybody's jersey clean. I'm going to take just a little break and do that, actually, and show off the sliders for anybody else that wanted to see it. I'm going back into practice, though, so don't worry about that. If you start Marty Belafonte, he will win the Heisman. Well, what about number 3, Brandon Warren? MLB free agency officially started today. Who would you like to see the Twins target? I would love to see them follow my footsteps and go get Dallas Keuchel and then get Paul Goldschmidt. I would be so ecstatic. I will take Keuchel. I'll take Patrick Corbin. If they don't go after one of those two, I will be disappointed because they have the money and they've had the need for so long. It's been a long time since I cherry-picked the games that Johan Santana started so I could go to the Dome and actually watch them win. Since then, we had like the 1 year Irvin Santana was really good. We've had Jose Barrios showing signs of being the ace. Go get a true veteran, proven pitcher, please. Please for me. Like the first 6 or something Twins games I went to, they lost. And so from there I was like, only going when Santana's pitching. And that worked. That strategy absolutely worked. They can trade for Goldschmidt. They can make it happen. I saw an article that said he might be available. That's good enough for me. Beyond that, I would not mind them going for someone like DJ LeMahieu. They could use a high contact bat, I feel. I'd have to see a list of MLB free agents. Most logical destination for Bryce Harper? Honestly, I'm not even sure like what teams are have the most ability to pay that much. I'm pretty sure the Yankees are like out after getting Stanton. But who knows? The Yankees they got resources. And here are the sliders, by the way. I hope that those that wanted these are looking at the screen right now. Go get Goldie. If the Twins get Keuchel and Goldie, like, they gotta at least give me some credit for the idea, right? It has like a less than like a 1/10 of 1% chance of happening, but if it happens, it's gonna be great. Where do you think Machado ends up? That's another good question. Honestly, I've been thinking about the Twins. I have not been thinking about who's going to go after the top free agents because it's never been the Twins. Thankfully, we have the Vikings who are not afraid to go after any free agent that's expensive. I've watched them go after Kirk Cousins. I've watched them go get Antoine Winfield. I've seen them, go after like Linval Joseph. Although he was only like $7 million a year, but still. The Vikings are not afraid to go after the big free agents, but the other teams, they hardly ever make like national waves. The Wolves got Jimmy Butler. He wants out. That's like second place. What do the Twins do? They got like a year out of Jim Tomei at the end of his career, and it was a good year. Jim Tomei once wrecked my dreams at a game in real life, though, at the Dome. Twins and Phillies. Twins down like 5-0. They get home runs out of Lou Ford. I used to like Lou Ford, an outfielder, and Joe Mauer. They end up tied at 6 going into the 9th inning. And Jim Tomei hits a bases clearing double. And they win 11-6. That memory still haunts me because I thought the Twins were going to win. I have no idea when that game was, what year. I'm sure it's, if you look in Pro Baseball Reference, you can probably find it. Lou Ford went yard, Joe Mauer went yard, and Jim Tomei had a bases clearing double. That's all I remember. Let's get Belafonte out there. Let's get Knightley. Let's go Houston. Sully in the slot. And I'm just basically making the same changes I had in there last time out. What do we think about free safety? Should I not play Tommy Jordan there and just display more of those 3 safety formations? Would that be a better idea? And let Jordan be the deep safety in those this time and let Baker play near the line of scrimmage instead of how I did it a year ago? I did not watch UCF versus Temple. I was busy watching the Nick Mullins show. My playbook is completely custom. Handcrafted. One of a kind. I want to get Leo Thorne out there. Leo Thorne, by the way, he is 6'4", 211, 84 speed, 99 acceleration. He also has 79 tackling, 85 hit power, some decent finesse, 82 block shed, 74 pursuit, and a little bit of coverage. I think he's kind of like an Anthony Barr type. A little bit of everything, not a lot of anything. Besides speed. Let's get Perry out there too while we're at it. I have never been to a college football game, actually, which is probably shocking. I've never been really big into college football. It's just when I got into NCAA, I paid more attention to it. Early Super Bowl matchup, who you got? I'm going to go generic and say Patriots and Rams. They both look really good. The Rams, they're all in this year. They got a little bit of experience last year losing to the Falcons. I think that this season they're going to be a little bit more difficult to eliminate. Although I would say I am down on the Vikings right now. I think that the Vikings would have the best chance maybe in the playoffs of beating the Rams. I think that after playing them once this year, being able to learn from it, and also seeing that our offense can do well against their defense, I wouldn't give the Vikings like a great shot, but I think they would have a shot. Ooh, Sully dropped it. Oh, and also, I think you have to give the Saints a good chance as well. Definitely the Saints. I think, though, with the Vikings, I'm not confident they're going to win a playoff game this year. They still got to obviously make it there, and I think they can, but they have 5 division games left. So we haven't even seen the games that matter yet for the Vikings, really. But the Vikings, they just have way too many things they do poorly on offense to go with all the highlights. They have very leaky pass protection. The running game isn't always reliable. Cousins has the fumbling issue and always has throughout his career. I think that the Vikings are too inconsistent on offense, and that's kind of their team identity. Or they're kind of trying to get a more of an offensive identity, but I don't think it's reliable enough. I still very much think they're a defensive football team that happens to have a high-flying offense at times. But the defense doesn't seem to be as good this year, and they've dealt with injuries. So I just don't think the Vikings are as good as they were a year ago on either side of football in some ways. I think Cousins is better than Keenum, but I know the mistakes weren't as plentiful last year. They had a lot of games in a row where they weren't turning the football over, and they were playing top-notch defense, and we haven't seen them protect the ball or play top-flight defense this season. Yeah, the Chargers, they usually have some preseason hype, and this year they're actually playing really well. I'm worried that if I start talking about them too much, they'll just reverse course. But they're doing this without Bosa. Once he comes back, it's another big player added to that defense that's already pretty good. And then Phillip Rivers this year, for the first time in his life, he has time to throw. So really exciting things are happening there in Los Angeles for two teams. So I'm thinking Knightley is going to be the third receiver. Marcus Payne, the number 2 running back. We'll sprinkle in some of the other running backs still. Philly beating the Rams? Maybe. That's where Wentz got hurt last year playing against them. But Philly's offensive line hasn't been the same this year, and I think that they need to play well for the offense to really click. I think they kind of got away with one against the Jaguars, who were just a little more dysfunctional on offense. Well, a lot more. Bortles has been pretty bad in a lot of games this year. Last season, Bortles was basically playing in a way where we just didn't notice him. It wasn't like he was playing great, but he also wasn't making a lot of mistakes. And now the mistakes have returned. Like, 16 games is not enough of a sample size to change the narrative of a player. It just doesn't work that way in football. You don't know if a player is truly different or if we just didn't get enough chances to see him turn back into his old self. You have the Ryan Fitzpatricks of the world who usually play with various personalities throughout a season. And then you get Blake Bortles, who was good enough for some of last year, and then not super mistake prone, and then this year very mistake prone. No, Jacksonville does not have the running game to lean on this year. Their offensive line, they are not playing as well as I thought they would. I watched the game they played against the Texans a couple weeks ago, and it was shocking. If you took the jerseys off of everybody, you would have thought Houston was Jacksonville, because Houston was the team running for about 4 to 5 yards a clip with Lamar Miller. And then you had the Jaguars, who could hardly get TJ Yeldon going. And then they couldn't protect Bortles. Jadeveon Clowney took over that game. So, I mean, I liked them getting Carlos Hyde. If we don't get Fournette back until like week 15 or something like that, if he's out for a long time, I like Carlos Hyde. I think he's a good running back. But it might not matter if the offensive line play doesn't fix itself, because Hyde isn't going to change the direction enough of the game. He already wasn't that efficient in Cleveland. I just believe in his overall talent. You need to go to a Clemson football game. That's probably one of the places I'd like to go to most if I had to pick like a college game to attend. I also think LSU would be cool. See, Sully he can't catch the football yet. He's not going to play much. I want to try payments out there. Let's try that. What do I think of UCF? Haven't really watched them, but I know they aren't losing, so I think regardless of who they're playing, if they keep winning, you got to give them some respect. But it would be nice if there was just like a top 10 team on their schedule right now for us to maybe just settle all the talking. Let's go to a new formation. This one has some more variety we haven't seen yet. Nice blitz, Baker. So Dustin Payment playing some receiver. How is this going to go? Let me get that screen out for Belafonte. I think you're going to see Belafonte catch the ball more than run. I think that's probably a good way to use him without letting him endure the same hits that are going to probably leave him hurt, because he does have one of the lower injury ratings on the team, and it's a big concern of mine. It's really the only thing keeping him from getting some more touches, is I don't want our All-American returner to get hurt on a 3-yard run. But yeah, he's special. We've seen Belafonte do a lot with a little. I was about to send Super Chat, but I have to buy college books. Don't worry about it, Kawhi. Don't worry about it. It's all good. And yeah, those college textbooks. Someone's making a lot of money off those, that's for sure. I know the paper they print those on didn't cost that much. If you want to become a writer and make some money and get some royalties, I think you want to get into like the textbook game, right? You don't want to make fiction novels. You want to get into Algebra 2, algebra, or college algebra. That sounds way more profitable. Dustin Payment. There we go. Oh, what a slant. Payment. We're going to make it work. Is Dustin Payment the next Taysom Hill? We'll play him at wide receiver, H-back, fullback, punt protector, wildcat quarterback, actual quarterback, running back. Hail Mary specialist. Hail Mary knockdown receiver. Did I miss anything? Wing. Yeah, you can see the playbook. I mean, I can just scroll through a bunch of these plays. And the arm on Warren, and Sully tries to go for the Beckham one-hander. And he has good spec catch. But this was less than spectacular, folks. He did not need to make a one-handed catch. Who did this last year? Who tried that? Who kept doing that? Was it Lamar Williams? It was Lamar Williams. It wasn't last year because it was longer, a longer time ago. Let's see. Who do I want to listen to? Hey, who knows who's also a part of the Bo Lee and Leon Daniels family trees? We haven't discovered all the relatives yet. So Sully has the moves, but it's all about how do you get the ball in his hands. He doesn't run routes that crisp. He doesn't have the best hands, so I think that he is probably going to return kicks after Belafonte, or if Belafonte were to get hurt. I can't see him with a major role on offense. I'm not sure there's a great like wide receiver 4 option on this team. Houston's probably going to get that chance, but I just think we won't go 4 wide that much. Come on, Knightley, that's your game. Packers had Taysom Hill on their roster, and the worst part is that they would never use him. Was Taysom Hill on the Packers? Taysom Hill. He was on the Packers for the offseason or practice squad only. He signed with them, appeared in 3 preseason games, threw 14 of 20 passes for 2 touchdowns, and ran another touchdown, and then they waived him. I'm guessing because they already had Brett Hundley and maybe another developmental quarterback like Joe Callahan or something on the team. I have no idea. But, yeah. And that's why it's nice to see what coaches like Sean Payton will do. And I think coaches like him are helping take the game forward a little bit in the strategy department because, you know, not everybody needs to fit the same cookie cutter role. There are different ways to use skill sets, and teams like the Patriots have found this out for a number of years. If you just take what a guy is good at and tell him to only do those things, suddenly you carve out a role for them. And the Patriots are like the epitome of being able to find role players and just put the magnifying glass on that role. And then you get people like Sean Payton who are really good at play calling, and they get a chance to play with the same quarterback for so long, and, you know, they're able to do so many different things. And then you throw Taysom Hill out there. I knew Hill was going to do something that I wasn't going to like. And what it was last weekend was they had him throw the ball down the middle. And it's not like they tried anything ridiculous schematically. It was all about the element of surprise. And, you know, Harrison Smith wasn't ready for that deep pass that Hill threw down the middle. All it takes is like a little bit of hesitation in the NFL. You're a half step too late. You're a half step too early. The any given Sunday speech, you know. That's all it takes. And simply it was something no one had seen before. And they had a player who can make it happen. Oh, Belafonte, let's go. You see what I like in this game? Madden 19 needs this. When a player runs out of gas here, when they're out of fatigue, did you see Belafonte on that long touchdown? His minimum speed wasn't like jogging. And that's what Madden 19 needs. When their stamina is depleted, yeah, don't let them spin and juke anymore, but come on, they're not all going to be slower than Linval Joseph on his touchdown run this year. Realistically, how long will Taysom Hill be in the league? If he's with the Saints, probably a while. If they can find ways to use him. And I think that we're seeing kind of that quarterback, like that package quarterback idea, get a little bit of a return. Seeing what the Ravens do with Lamar Jackson and then Taysom Hill with the Saints. I'm sure we'll find out some other athletes, you know, doing the same stuff. Maybe that's the way Terrell Pryor can extend his career. I don't know. It's fun to watch, though, even though I don't like watching it. Not with Taysom Hill, just because the Saints, I don't know, they annoy me sometimes. I have no good reason to be, like, annoyed about it. They're just so good at some things, it's a little obnoxious. Let's try out some different quarterbacks. What kind of contract would Taysom Hill get? I still feel he would be treated kind of like a backup running back. I think with Hill, you'd end up with like a 2-year, $3 to $5 million contract. Nothing special. We're only talking about a handful of snaps and packages, but he does play special teams and tackle. He does play special teams and return. He can protect the punter. He can run wildcats. So I think a player like him to a team that's actually going to use his skills, maybe a few million bucks. I think he could definitely have a long career. Granted, he also needs to stay healthy, and that was a big reason why his stock fell in college. I couldn't believe the list of injuries he dealt with. So we got Rashawn Phillips in the game now. Not very mobile, but pretty accurate. He came from the same high school as Justin Colbert, so the story is that he was the backup there. But it was also like there was also a situation like with the Alabama quarterbacks where they would just get a big lead, and then Phillips would come in and still get his production and show what he could do. They were a powerhouse. Nice job. Taysom Hill is what Tim Tebow should have been. Hill is a lot faster and more dynamic of an athlete. I don't think Tim Tebow could do this role exactly. He could do the package quarterback stuff and the wildcat running and the red zone stuff. But as far as all the special teams, maybe. Oh, I love watching Adam Vinatieri break the scoring record. I've been watching that guy kick for so long. For some reason, I'm still surprised when he knocks through one of those 52-yard field goals. Must be nice to have a reliable kicker for over a decade, right? Can't relate. See, every time the Vikings have to kick, I have no faith. And then, like, you know, when Will Lutz was kicking on Sunday against the Vikings, I'm like, yeah, I have no faith in him missing this kick. That was James Huggins who knocked that pass away. Maybe we'll try some more red zone stuff here. I enjoy shortening the field a bit and letting those linebackers shine a little bit more. What is this music? This one is... This is all from the YouTube audio library, by the way. That's where I use all my music. This song is called Phife for Life, Phife for Life, by Otis McDonald, who has a number of phenomenal tracks in the library. Like this one.
Are you listening? Damn.
I do remember the Vikings having Gary Anderson, but that was many years ago. Like the kickers I remember, like the older kickers I remember are like Paul Ettinger, who hit a huge like 56-yarder against the Packers in one of the Vikings' best comebacks of all time. That was a fun one. But other than Ryan Longwell, there hasn't been much stability. Who caught Anton Greenberry's first NFL touchdown pass? I'm glad someone's actually giving me the Anton Greenberry trivia, but I'm not prepared with the answer. If I had to guess, I would say it was David Njoku. I could be totally wrong, though. I'm actually interested in the answer. Let's go Dustin Payment jump ball. Oh man, knocked away Justin Garcia. What else we got here? I try to get new stuff in here as much as I can, though. It was Adam Humphries? Oh, man. Adam Humphries had the first one. He only played for us for a little bit. Yeah, he was just too cheap to leave on the free agent market. That was like our first offseason. Had to have been because it was Greenberry's first touchdown. Look at Phillips, almost got it there. Watching from Brazil. Awesome. I try to do my streams at a reasonable time because I know a lot of you are in different time zones. Brazil's time zone isn't too far off, though, actually. Only a couple hours, but for those of you in Europe, I know it's tough sometimes with us American content creators to be on our same schedule. Do you remember that Nick Boyle caught Cole Hartzman's first NFL touchdown? No. No, there is some obscure channel trivia out there just waiting to be unleashed. Look at this pocket movement. Next level. Oh boy. Come on, Belafonte. Let's get Payne back out there. Lord Luigi sends a super chat. I wanted to thank you for all the hard work you put in. You're the best sports franchise channel out there. You inspired me to make my own channel. Well, thank you, Lord Luigi, for the kind words. And, you know, good luck. I'm glad that you're giving it a shot. If you've got that inspiration, it can be really rewarding and a lot of fun. You just gotta stick with it if you really enjoy it. And I've given out different tips to like younger content creators and those that are just getting into it. I always say that you need to listen to the feedback, no matter if it's only a small amount of people. You need to focus mostly on like improving your process, whatever it is. There's always room for you to improve, no matter if you've done this for a long time or a short while. But I think that there can be a tough time for content creators starting out. That you know, you gotta really figure out your voice, the type of content you want to make. So what I found success with here with my franchise formula is that I just tried making content that I myself would like. So that's like my new big tip. If you don't know what exactly to do, just act like you're your own audience. What would you like to watch? And that'll help you with the step-by-step process. If you were watching this, and this was your source of entertainment, like how would you want this to look? How would you want it to be presented? What details are important to share? So just keep that in mind. I think what an issue that happens with a lot of content creators at the beginning is that there's like an identity crisis and you're not quite sure what you're doing or who you're doing it for. So start out by trying to do it for yourself. And from there you'll find like-minded people. How about Axis Football? I know that they're supposed to be putting the game on PS4 and Xbox One sometime this year, I want to say. Whenever it is, you have my attention. I do want to see how that plays. I think that game is only on like PC right now or something, and I would totally love to check it out. Just got here, what did I miss? Well, the stream's been going for almost 2 hours, so unfortunately quite a bit. Just a lot of good question and answer stuff, and some practice here with the team, finding out who's going to get the roles that we've been talking about. We're going to see Marcus Payne play quite a bit this season. We're going to see Antoine Knightley get a chance to show what he can do on the outside, but is he going to show enough to take targets away from Hayden John Charles, Justin Payne, and Carl Joyce? That remains a mystery. What do you use to capture gameplay? I use the Elgato HD60, but for NCAA, you're really better off doing it on Xbox because you won't have to do this. But I have, this is now like ancient technology, whereas it was cutting edge in 2011. But I have the Hapog HD PVR 1212 or something like that. It's a big, fat electronic box with a bunch of cords coming out of it. It looks ridiculous next to the Elgato, and the reason I have to use it is for component cable capturing, which is what was kind of used before HDMI became the industry standard. So I'm only playing in 720p, it can only capture in 720p, but because I do all this here on a PS3, they didn't allow you to have HDMI capture at the time, but Xbox 360 did. So if you have the chance and you want to do content on NCAA, it'll be a lot easier doing so on the Xbox. How do you plan on using Knightley? Just curious. When we go 3 wide, he'll come into the formation and go outside as we move Payne inside. So kind of just a possession role, and I think the area where I really want to see what he can do is down here in the red zone, because outside of Hayden John Charles, I'm not sure. Maybe Payne could do it. I haven't seen him fail at it, but we need a good red zone threat. So I think he has the chance to be one of the better physical receivers we've had come through this program. So kind of one of those possession receiver roles. Not going to play inside, not going to try stretching the field with him. He's going to be Laquan Treadwell. Hopefully a little bit better, right? In the battle of the quarterbacks, who would win between Greenberry and Walker? Hey, Anton Greenberry might be the best quarterback I've ever had come through any of my channels, so I'm on Team Greenberry on that one. So far from Knightley, I've been impressed with his like tough catch ability. Of course, right now he has a tough matchup against Daniel Foster, but I could see Knightley being somebody who has like an incredible catch to touchdown like percentage, just because it's going to be where his targets come. Like if I want to get down the field, I think Justin Payne with his route running is way too good to not feed. And then you have Carl Joyce on big plays. Knightley's going to be kind of in a less flashy role. It's going to be as flashy as his skill set allows it to be, because he'll have to make tough plays. You're streaming Danganronpa tonight. Blackjack, dodging the Mario Party beatdown. We'll have to find the night to do that, by the way. I really want to go head-to-head and have some fun there. But yeah, always remember that Blackjack has had a big hand in the creation of this series and the recruiting aspect of it obviously. So definitely give him a follow on Twitch at twitch.tv/theblackjackxxi, which is 21 in Roman numerals. Where do you pay for the channel membership? It's not active right now. I still have some stuff to do before that's going to be ready. There you go, Knightley. Nice job. Who would you consider your best recruit in any of your dynasties, and who would you consider your best draft pick of all time? My best pick, I think, well, I mean, if we're not counting Anton Greenberry. Okay, Nate Bell's in the discussion, but I think on my second channel, the player that has to be discussed is Perry Cummings. Perry Cummings, if you're not familiar with the Browns rebuild, you should get familiar, but Perry Cummings was a wide receiver, a mid-round wide receiver prospect. And I found his combine to be super good because he ran like a 4.2 or something like that. And then I was intrigued by whatever his top 3 skills were, but once I found his, once I drafted him in like the 4th round, I saw that he had like ridiculous elusiveness, ridiculous ball carrier vision, and I'm like, wait a minute. He could be way better at running back than receiver. And I turned him into a running back. And he became a 99 overall running back within 2 seasons. He won Rookie of the Year. And he had some better awards than that. And for like 4 or 5 years, he was unstoppable before regression kicked in. But it was like a really rare thing where I found this receiver prospect who happened to be amazing at running back. I've found similar prospects who were nowhere near as ready for running back. They did not have the elusiveness on the same level or the carrying. Cummings, he fit running back so well, and we made it work. We made it more than work. So it was definitely my best position switch of all time. It went a lot better than moving Jabril Peppers to running back, that's for sure. Perry Cummings to running back was much more successful. I ruined his career, Jabril Peppers. Well, if you remember Peppers in last year's Madden, he had like no coverage and no tackling. What was I to do? I couldn't find him a home anywhere but running back. Oh, come on, Knightley. James Huggins. Oops. A little more practice here. Like, I've said this many times before. If there wasn't a clock anywhere near me, these plays go by so quickly, I could just sit here for hours and get lost. Like, what if I run this play? What if I put this player in this spot? What if we try this 20 times and see how it goes? Maybe you gotta be wired a certain way to just love doing this franchise stuff as much as I do. Look at that throw! Mario Party Monday night, you're on. You're on. So Kalispell Dynasty Week 1 will be coming soon, and do not forget, it is a must-see matchup. Kalispell and Texas A&M, And we're going to be facing against Justin Colbert, who will be joining the Aggies as a graduate transfer following our old offensive coordinator because he needs the best home for his last year of remaining eligibility. And he is going to play against his former team in his very first game away. Kalispell and Texas A&M, you do not want to miss that. Zach Bogan was the GOAT. I can't believe I ruined the best special teams performance in NFL history because I couldn't stop throwing picks and then losing to Johnny Manziel and the Seahawks. Why don't you play old Maddens? You know, I plan to do that a bit more. I was actually playing another Madden another day this week. Maybe you're familiar. Oop, that's not the game. It's in a different spot, I guess. It's Madden 2004. The reason being is because I wanted to make a video talking about tournament mode in Madden and how I think that they should bring it back and how I think that it has the potential to be more played than like online franchise. I really think that. The tournament mode in Madden 04, I'm not afraid of like talking about my whole video here because I know it's only like a few hundred of you in here that are watching right now and it'll still be relevant as an idea later on. But the old tournament mode in Madden, it was set up to be more than just like a single elimination tournament. It was almost set up where you could also have like a group play deal where you had like a little league and then everybody played everybody once or everybody played everybody twice. And I think that if they were able to bring that back, like think about online franchise. Most of your games are going to be against the CPU unless you're in one of these rare online franchises that manages to keep going, which it's awesome if you are. But it's hard to coordinate things with a large amount of people, especially if most of you aren't even that good of friends. If you're just like acquaintances and you need someone to play a franchise with. Wouldn't it be a lot easier to be able to set up a league with you and 5 friends and be able to do a fantasy draft if you wanted to in there? Have like almost a fantasy football Madden league, and then you can actually get through something in like a weekend and not have this big franchise where you play the first 4 weeks, you're excited and then get bored. Like I think it would be bigger than online franchise potentially if they brought back the tournament mode and kept it the way it was back in the other games. I used to play those on my own because you only had to play a handful of games. And one thing that was nice about those leagues is you could play the games in any order until the playoffs. So if you had 6 games to play, you could play against whoever you wanted in what order. You could have some CPU teams, but I think it's more fun to go head to head. So imagine if you could have even just a 4-man league. You and 3 friends, fantasy draft, you can all get a bunch of stars on your team that way, and then you just have a little tournament over the weekend. You could do the draft and all the games in less than 5 hours, I bet, and you'd actually get it done. So what do you think? Can't believe the jerseys aren't dirtier yet. We gotta work on that lateral. Nataki Mason, oh man. Nataki Mason, I think, is one of the more underappreciated superstars of the channel. Maybe I threw too many interceptions with him. There you go, Knightley. Just joined in. Thank you for the super chat, Jake. Have you decided where Justin Colbert is going to play? He's going to play for Texas A&M following our old offensive coordinator. And we're playing against them in week 1. It's going to be a really fun start to the season. I cannot wait. It's something I've never done before, manually transferring a player and creating this big storyline that I think honestly makes a lot of sense. I think a player in his situation would absolutely transfer away with 1 year of eligibility, have a chance to cement a legacy and build up a pro draft stock. So in a way, it was me kind of keeping things more fair, because otherwise we'd have 299 overall quarterbacks, and we had that essentially for last year. I think Colbert was like a 98 and Warren a 96. Yes, Hartman did have a 5,000-yard season, which with the passing targets I had, that should have been the expectation. There was a lot. I mean, we had Keenan Allen turn into like a number 3 receiver at some point. He only had like 900 or something yards in the final year. We had Reggie Shepard catching all sorts of passes. We had Hunter Henry. It was really, really good. Harmon Whitaker was super productive. So many legendary players, and I want to do more things to incorporate them, and that's why tomorrow we are doing the MrHurriicane All-Star Game. It is going to be a really fun little one-day thing, probably. We might do more stuff like it in the future, and I want to, but it's on All Pro Football 2K8 again. It has 20 players created from the MrHurriicane universe, draft picks, recruits. I could only do 20. They can only have 10 per team, so I made 20. And it's going to be a good chance to see some of the superstars of series past play against one another on a different game, but a fun and good game nonetheless. But I think we are reaching the end here. I gotta end this at some point, and I think we've done quite a bit today. Lots of practice in here. A lot of plays have been ran. We've gotten the answer to some of our questions. And we're just about ready for week 1. Tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Central Time, I will see you for the MrHurriicane All-Star Game on All Pro Football 2K8. I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for supporting the channel. Keep in mind, I have 2 videos going up tonight. Twins franchise spring training video. I'll still likely do a stream next week of that, just getting ready for opening day. But I think it's the last video I'll make for this series before opening day. The only spring training video that is. And then on my second channel, Cards Rebuild, coming out a little bit later. So, yeah, thank you for spending some time with me here on the Friday. Enjoy your weekend, everybody, and hope you all have a great time. I'll see you all later. Have a good one, everybody.